Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. I know we are. It's got a great show for you tonight. First segment had Brandon Cobb on.
Yeah.
Very awesome, very refreshing. Talking to young Brandon. 2 big wins recently, 2 elite wins, almost back-to-back. And we've got 2 more segments for you. We've got a great segment coming up right now with Jeff Little. And a little bit later, we're going to be talking kayak fishing. We've got Ryan Lambert calling in to chat with us about kayak fishing, good and bad. Joining us real quick, the one and only Miss Rebecca stepped in and sitting in the crusts chair. How you doing tonight, Beck? Beck, who are you wearing tonight? Should look down and see.
Kmart.
Anthropology.
Anthropology.
Jacques Penoir.
Jacques. Anthropology. Give us a little update. I know you normally update us on Ike Foundation stuff, and we do have something that just happened with Ike Foundation. You want to give us an update on that?
We announced our 5 scholarship recipients today.
What? Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah.
So people watching right now that want to know who won the scholarships, where can they go to find out?
If you head to our Facebook page, we have it listed there. Sometimes we have a slight delay in getting things onto the website, but it's definitely listed on all our social channels.
Cool. So how was it? Pretty diverse? I know hundreds and hundreds of applications came in.
It's a lot.
And you guys had to
essays.
sift through, go through essays. I mean, you don't just give the scholarships away. Like, these are qualified high school graduating seniors that worked hard for the scholarship. And, and was it a hard process narrowing it down to those 5?
It's really hard because there's some amazing kids that apply.
Yeah.
But I think you probably get down to about 25 that you really then have to dig into to find those top 5. You know, like there's usually 20 to 25 that truly stand out. They're those kids that did something in their community. They gave back, or, you know, that letter of recommendation really touched you. Like their essay was that good. There's like something about them that really stands out.
Are you reading the essays? Who's doing that?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate because Kate on our team is a former teacher.
Oh, okay. So
she reads through everything, and then I get a smaller group to read through by the time they come to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And we try to be real careful because a lot of people try to say, oh, so-and-so is applying, and we don't want to have any bias. So by the time I get them, like, there's no names on them. It's just, you're literally just reading them.
Yeah.
And just so all of you in high school know, like, an essay is 5 paragraphs. The opening should say the 3 points you're going to make. The next 3 paragraphs should be those 3 points, and then you should close it.
Dave knows all that. Dave, you remember all that, don't you? Oh, okay, good stuff.
Well, you want to make fun of myself?
No!
All right.
No, I wasn't trying to get into that. No. The other big thing, too, is the last time we had an Ike Live show was right on the heels of the Ike Foundation's kids event.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
It's happened. Very, very much a success, Dave. You thought it was a good turnout this year?
My little guy tapped out, dude. He insisted on being cool, coming down there scantily dressed.
Yeah.
He froze his ass off.
He did. It was chilly.
We bailed, man.
Yeah. It was chilly. But we had a great turnout, over 200 kids.
Yeah.
Gave away lots of rods and reels. Great turnout. The story for me from the Ike Foundation kids event, Brian the Carpenter, I know you weren't there this year, but was so amazed at how many young ladies won this year.
Yeah.
It was very, very impressive.
Our one age group was all girls.
It was dominated by girls, which I thought was really, really cool. Brian the Carpenter?
They legit won, or Becky's cabal of man-hating women picked them to win?
No, they legit won.
Okay.
This is legit. You know, if we go by inches, you know, you catch 10, 20, 15 fish. Yeah. From bluegill to catfish to bass.
Rich, you were there. You saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
There was
to see the ladies.
Girls out there. It was awesome. One little girl. Remember the little girl with the Great Wolf Lodge, the ears on her cap?
Yeah.
Taylor, everyone knows Taylor. Volunteers all our events, comes out to everything. But like, he was there hanging out with her and her dad.
Oh,
and
Taylor Stewart?
Yeah. And she had it like figured out. Like, she just figured out how to cast right into the channel beyond where everybody else was casting.
She was dialed.
And she was catching bass after bluegill.
Yeah.
It just,
the hook sets sounded like Brandon Cobb's.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was
Wow.
amazing.
Whacking them.
But, I mean,
bobbers
was she
flying.
like 10? I mean, she was
If
awesome.
that. Yeah. If that.
The best story was the family next to her, like, didn't catch anything. And they kept going. They're like, what are you doing? Like, to this little girl, what are you doing? Like, because they all have worms. I mean, we provide them with worms, you know. And but,
got worms.
She just, she had it. The cadence, the cast, everything. She just had it figured out.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great event. It was a great event. And one last thing, Ike Foundation, another big event coming up in a couple months. But I want to remind everybody watching and listening, it's not too early to sign up. We have the Ike Foundation Pro-Am. I want to say our 4th year back on the Delaware River, Camden waterfront again. Want to give people a little info on that and let them know they can sign up already?
Yes, so
at a discount.
So we have the boat fishing event. We've got the kayak event. We've got that free family fun fest during the day on the Camden waterfront. Spoiler alert: there's going to be one last discount for the boat event right before Father's Day. So.
Keep your eye out.
I mean, sign up tonight.
Yeah.
But maybe wait a week.
And for people watching right now that have been on the fence or have fished it in the past and are debating on fishing it again, big difference this year in first place prize. A fully rigged Bass Cat boat this year.
Yeah.
A Bass Cat, brand new Bass Cat Margay with a 150 Yamaha on the back.
There's no better bang for your buck out there.
That boat goes fast. Mike Centaur.
It's a go fast boat.
Yeah, he put a 150 on that boat last year, put a Yamaha on it.
Yeah.
And that boat flies.
Moves.
Yeah.
What's he running? 2 boats now, Rich?
Well, he sold the Margay actually just recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's only running a Skeeter, but he rigged that boat out and it looked good. I saw him on the water with it several times. So it's worth the entry fee.
It's worth the entry fee.
Oh my God,
yeah. Check it out. Go to Ike
I'm coming for you,
Foundation.
Mike.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we haven't talked about is that we changed up the format a little bit for the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
So instead of doing the event on the battleship the evening before, the Ike Live crew is going to be live for happy hour from the host hotel the night before for the pairings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's just a free event. Anyone can come, you know, grab a beer. We're figuring out all those details
I mean, it is
and hang out for the live show.
It is kayak night. Maybe we talk about that part of the thing?
Yeah, we might have something.
No, I'm like, maybe now.
Oh.
Like,
But wait. My last comment is, instead of doing the battleship, we're still going to have a big event. We're trying to do it a little bit fancier. We're going to go 2 yards on the Thursday evening before for a casino night.
Casino night. The Thursday night before, too. So you can go and let loose and not be the night for the tournament. You know, have fun. It's gonna be a good one. I think
that
it's
can
good
be your
change.
late night.
Yeah.
Friday can be your
Yeah,
team
because
night.
those teetotalers like Mike Centaur don't whip your ass the next day.
Yeah, they don't drink at all. He's
No.
drinking water,
Right.
sandbagging.
Right. Sandbagging.
No, I'm like, so what I meant was the kayak division.
Kayak division again.
Let's talk about that. Is what I meant.
Yep, kayak division again. Some changes there as well. Opening up the waterways a little bit. We're gonna
let's hear it.
We're gonna add some more water.
Yeah,
all
there's
within
a lot of
all
water.
within Camden County, but we're gonna add a couple other fisheries.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a little broader
we're
choice.
opening up to the public waterways on a few other counties, and so you can see that all
There
that
you go.
on the sign up. So there's about 3 counties that if there's a public waterway, you can fish on.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
God, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As long
it's
as
gonna
it
be
leads to
huge.
the river.
Yeah, I think they're all connected to Delaware River. If I'm not mistaken, right?
I know.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, we'll find out.
That was the whole thing before in the past.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I like it, man. That's
We're just
interesting.
trying to. Well, Hobie changed up their format as well, and so we're trying to work with them in order to be able to make it a larger event. Because ultimately, what you do now is you qualify for this. I think it's called the Tournament of Champions in Arkansas, and then that winner goes on to Hobie Worlds.
So you're not getting the ticket punched to Worlds.
Yeah.
Are Torqeedos permitted on the kayaks at this event?
They are.
Maybe.
Looks like that ruling just came down.
I don't know. Becky's like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, they are. I don't see why not.
I don't make the rules. Hobie does. So
I don't remember seeing that it couldn't be like
I got to tell you though,
electronically propelled. You know.
I like the all the different the locations that you can go. It adds a whole nother strategy to it. For me, and again, I'm not a kayak angler, so the kayak people probably gonna get pissed at me, but I love the aspect of the thing about the kayak that's most appealing to me is getting into smaller waterways. The whole throwing the boats in Kentucky Lake kind of thing. Like, I don't know. To me, I think you should be going to places that the bass boats can't get, because there's so many awesome places bass boats can't get with your kayaks. And I don't know. I know you get a lot of people showing up at the events, and it might be tougher with smaller waterways, but I like that aspect of it. I'm not exactly tickled at, or it just doesn't make sense to me to put them out on big bodies of water where it's dangerous.
Right. How about that place we got my G3 last year?
Yeah, that place.
That was a place only kayaks should go.
Or the place that I was over the weekend, over a guardrail, and through the poison ivy and
good places
to the motherland.
They're some of the best.
Yep,
they're some of the best. Speaking of kayaks, I want to switch it now, and I would like to break into our in-studio guest.
Ron Champion would like to say Torqeedos are not allowed in Hobie events.
They're not. Is that what
I knew there was going to be.
Okay.
But thank you, Ron. Appreciate you.
Ron, have you signed up yet?
Yo, Ron.
Yeah, defending champion Ron.
Yo,
Champion.
Ron.
Yeah.
Ron. Dude, are you going to let Ron do that again?
I know Brian gave him.
Dude,
I'm not allowed to joke with Brian.
Brian,
Tonight, so I'll say it differently.
Brian
Someone
gave
him a lot of good juice.
Dave, you went to Peters, right?
Yeah, I did, dude.
We tried to tell you to go to Newton.
No,
Peters has the ability to put out,
dude,
though.
Listen, if you would have saw the Giants I had there, like, just the week before, like, it was stupid, and I had it to myself.
Yeah, they went through the pipe, and Ron caught them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
That's so funny. A guy comes up from Georgia, has 6 minutes of practice, and finds, like, the most amazing place. Now, he stayed at, I'm not allowed to joke with Brian tonight, but he stayed at Brian's house that night. And he wound up on a spot that's
So
like,
I said, Ron, pull the lake up on your phone. Okay, so this is deep, this is shallow, there's trees here, this is where the water comes in, there's a bridge, there's a bridge, there's a bridge.
So what Dave is saying is he'd like to be invited over for the conversation.
Yeah,
the night before
Dave wants to sleep over.
Dave
the night
doesn't
before.
listen. Ron Champion does.
I showed you guys the pictures, man. When they were giants. They were all 3-pounders,
Yeah,
dude.
you won practice.
Yeah.
And they were there.
Hooked your fish.
They were gone, man.
They were snakeheads, but they were 3-pounders.
But remember I told you in the first 3 minutes, I shot like a 16-incher right off the board, because I didn't like. There's a trick that Ron showed me where he has like a leash that he hooks the fish in the mouth before he puts them on the board, so that if he does wiggle off, he's hooked onto the tether, to the leash. And I had him on there, and I'm trying to get myself in position. Right off, dude. I'm telling you, like the first 3 minutes, man. Yeah.
So you didn't even get the picture.
No, I didn't even get. I was reaching down for the camera to get set up to take the picture, and he shot right off. He was laying still, dude. He was dead. And then I go to reach for the camera, and he was gone, man. He played me.
Played you, man.
That's what scares me about these events for Vegas. I guess I'll just put the fish in the bottom of the boat.
Keep them in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah.
Bottom of the boat.
Yeah, keep them in the bottom of the boat.
Ron Champion says, nobody gave me shit till Davey sucks.
I guess we're all just to believe he slept over your house, and 6 minutes later was on the winning spot. You're right. He did find it. Yeah. Who were we
I like
to say
that
that?
the sleepover aspect of all this.
Yeah.
I had a slumber party.
Yeah. And he happened to have the black power worm with the shark tail
Yeah.
that hasn't been made in 30 years.
No, Ron brought his own game, man. He did. He fished it his own way. He camped in one spot and waited for him to turn back on, and just stayed on.
Yeah, that is tough.
Everybody I know would have moved on.
Yeah, that's
Brian
tough.
made him bacon it.
Where was he fishing? By the Black Horse Pike?
Yeah.
At the pipe? At the overflow.
Yeah. That spot gets a lot of pressure too. It's not. I mean, it's community hole.
Yeah.
You can beat that spot flipping pads.
Not that day.
Apparently not.
I want to get into it. And joining us, I mentioned it earlier, we've got a guy that I met today, and really amazing product. And I want to jump into a little bit of that and a little more. Jeff Little joining us on the Castle Couch tonight. Jeff, good to have you, man.
Thanks, man.
We got a lot of people watching and listening right now, and I know what they're thinking, because the first time I heard the name, I thought the same thing. Torqeedo.
You just can't stop saying it.
Torqeedo.
So you get taquito,
right?
Torqeedo,
right?
A lot of different variations of it, but it's Torqeedo, and it's a play on the word torque.
Yeah,
because the electric motor that it is really high torque. It's not like a trolling motor. Its technology is such that the propeller that it has a really aggressive pitch, has a really long prop blade, and it's actually a low RPM motor. So with each turn, it's just taking big chunks of water.
A lot of bite.
It's got a lot of bite.
Yeah.
And you felt that today in my boat that I had the Cruise 2.0. I think that gets up to about 9.5 with that rig out there, 9.5 mile an hour. Most kayaks with our ultralight are between 5 and about, I think the highest I've tested one was 5.7 miles per hour in a kayak. So
wow,
that's the Hobie Evolve, the one where you put it in the Mirage Drive, or the Torqeedo ultralight that you put on the back.
That's what we had out there today.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have a competition. Dave versus the Torqeedo.
I'll get hammered. So I can hold about 5 miles per hour for about maybe 50 yards.
Yeah.
Full red line, man. And then that's it. Then you're burned out.
Yeah. And then you're
fatigue. With a Sprint with the Mirage Drive, I can hit like 5.1, but with the Torqeedo on the Pro Angler 14, I'm doing 5.2, but I'm doing 5.2 for like 11 miles.
Oh wow!
So,
Dave, how did you know your speed?
My GPS.
Okay.
The Lowrance. Like what is it, the Outback? The Outback can fly.
Yeah.
Outbacks.
It's a quick boat.
That thing flies. I would like to know what you can do with that red line, like what kind of speed you can get. But it's infinitely faster than the PAs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new Outback hits 5.5 miles per hour with the Torqeedo, which is one of the faster ones, and one of the things that they figured out that Hobie does well is the seating position. Having the seating position forward, basically, if here's your bow, here's your stern, the kayak angler is here. He's going to put a lot of his gear right here behind him, and the bow pops up, the stern digs down, and it rides inefficiently.
Yeah.
Well, Hobie knows that, and they push the seat forward. There's something about getting that nose down that it rides flat.
Weight distribution, yeah.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same concept that I learned from a lot of the Baltimore Municipal Water Supply Reservoir anglers. There's all these tournaments that go on Liberty and Pretty Boy and Loch Raven. There are pockets of electric-only tournaments all over the U.S. There's
New Jersey.
The whole state.
There's some in North Carolina. There's a bunch in Ohio, down near Atlanta, Georgia.
Richmond has some.
Most of these states, you're naming her by choice. Like the People's Republic of New Jersey mandates that we have electric only. Like it isn't by choice.
Right. And there's over. We have a map that I use just when I talk with dealers that explain the electric only market. There's over. I think it's over 1,800 different electric only waters, and that's not even counting like the community lakes. There are the ones that are those are just public ones in North America. So it is a big market, and that you cannot use the gas motor. But I will put it out there. There's a reason why you would use an electric motor, even if you can use it, and that's how I use that boat up on the Susquehanna.
Right.
You were talking earlier about placing the cast in the meat of the tree or out on the edge, and the thing that I kept thinking of I know exactly where to place a bait because I put the snorkel and the scuba mask on and go face down in the Susquehanna, and I'm looking in grass beds in white water.
Oh, really?
And I know specifically where those fish are going to be from that experience, and that's what I was thinking about in that example. But when I'm down there and I'm filming, doing underwater filming to kind of help with the YouTube channel to explain concepts to people, I'll hear a jet boat running up the river, and I'll just stop. I'll just be like, all right, I'm not filming. And it feels like he's right on top of me. And I pop my head up over the surface, and I look, and like, he's half a mile away.
Wow.
Like, I got a long time waiting for that gas motor to get away from me. It's the same thing out on the bay. we'll be, you know, we'll be out there in kayaks with the Torqeedo motor on the back, run right over them. In fact, I did it yesterday after a Hobie dealer visit up in Harvey Cedars. You know, trolled right over some stripers. I got a couple nice ones. You know, I went into the dealership and I couldn't focus on what the guy was saying. I'm like, you have breaking fish behind you. He's like, go ahead and launch and come back. But you know, we run right over them in like 6 feet of water trolling, and it doesn't spook these fish.
Right.
And if I'm out there catching stripers and I'm jigging on them and you know, we're catching them, if I have someone with a gas motor that's scooting by, I mean, everyone's out there with binoculars. They're looking for two things: birds dropping, or someone else catching fish.
Right.
And if I see a gas, you know, just a regular boat going by, and I have a fish hooked up, I will drop the rod tip like I'm not catching this fish and screw around with a depth finder until he passes, and then I bring him in, because I don't want him coming over.
Right.
Because as soon as that gas motor comes over, it's blah, 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 blah. You know,
Shuts
it
the
just
fish
ruins
down.
it. It just scatters it.
Yeah.
So electric for stealth is a big deal.
Right.
You know, they're not totally silent. You know, there is a reduction gear noise in there, but it's not like a gas motor.
It's definitely not like a gas. And you don't have a lot of the problems with gas. You don't have the cost of gas.
Right.
You don't have the mess of gas. You don't have the emissions of gas.
Yep.
There's a lot of benefits.
Yeah, I just plug it in and it's ready to roll.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, Mike.
go ahead. No, I was going to say, I know there's a lot of people right now that, what's the history of Torqeedo a little bit? Like, what's the history? Where did it come from? When did it start? You know, give us a little bit of that.
It's a German company.
Yeah.
And it was basically, two guys that you know, that worked together and boated together on Lake Starnberg in Germany, and they looked at what was out there. You know, it's an electric only lake, and said, you know, the options aren't good. You know, we can come up with something better, and they did, just for their own use. And you know, they're zipping around, and everyone else in the marina was like, hey, where'd you get that? Well, we made it. Can you make another? Can you make another? And it snowballed, and they just said, we need to quit our regular jobs and just do this.
Wow.
So what is unique about it, what is different? So with any electric motor, you have your copper coils. You got a magnet that goes in there.
Yeah.
You apply the electricity, and it spins. You know, when they invented the Torqeedo motor, they inverted that, and instead of putting the magnet inside, they put a bell housing around the outside, so you have lots of magnets. So it's a magnification of torque just by having more magnets. The magnets that they use are not the ferrite magnets that you see in a trolling motor. They're rare earth magnets, which are really expensive, but they're 6 times more powerful per weight. So again, another magnification of torque.
You gotta love German engineers. Only a German engineer would look at a normal trolling motor and be like, sucks!
Right.
You know what I mean?
This sucks! Jacob!
Let's create another one. Let's find these rare earth magnets that we gotta destroy a tribe for, you know what I mean? Let's make this awesome motor happen, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it started in Germany. These two guys, they figured this out. They created this amazing thing. Word started to spread. So how did it get to the States, and how did it start getting to the fishing world?
I would say that the fishing application isn't nearly as big as the market penetration we've had in sailing.
Sailing's the big market, biggest market in the
sailing
States.
has been, you know, and kayak fishing is exploding, and we're having incredible growth with our ultralight, our 1 horsepower equivalent.
Right.
That's the one you're talking about inside the PA and the
yeah.
Outback.
So we actually sell the motor to Hobie, and Hobie builds the housing around it that you drop down into. You can either, you know, on the pro anglers, you can drop it down into where the Mirage Drive is, or on the older Outbacks, you could put them on the back. But it's the same 400-watt motor.
But like, how do you charge them? Like, because now you need a battery or something. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, lithium.
So it's a lithium battery, and it's about that big. There's two options, a 320 watt hour and a 915. The 915, you know, the longest day that I've had with it was actually on the Susquehanna Flats, trolling for striper. I covered 25.3 miles in one day, and I still had 5% left. So
Dang.
it's
Wow. So it's all enclosed in that housing?
mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have to rewire something, or it's
No.
just all in it. You just plop it in, and then you
Yep.
pull it out, and you recharge it.
Yep. The whole system's waterproof.
It sounds easy.
They say IP67 rated waterproof, which means you can submerge it, you know, up to a meter deep for up to half an hour. No water gets in it.
What's the draft?
The draft. How deep you have to put the prop. I actually test that a lot. So we redid our kayak mount to have that 4-bolt pattern, which is the same as the power pole. That you're seeing. Well, the 4-bolt pattern is on the back of. They have the inserts on the back of the new Outback, but it's on a lot of different kayaks. And I tested a lot of different boats to make sure, you know, that it works with, you know, it works with most of the market as much as we can. And that was one thing that I looked at, is we have to get that propeller deep enough so there's no, and people say cavitation, but the German engineers say no, not cavitation, it's ventilation. But basically where it sucks.
American lies.
Right. I get corrected. It's you gotta have the top of the propeller about that deep before it's really grabbing, you know. It's not sucking down.
I'm just
any
thinking
air.
of the one that would go into where the foot pedals go, like how far down that is, like how much, you know, how much are we,
That
that's
actually
all.
I think requires less depth, just because there's
You're already under.
you have the hull
Yeah.
of the kayak there. It's harder to suck air down to it.
Right,
I don't know.
Is it adjustable?
Yeah, it's adjustable up and down. You can adjust the the trim angle. In most cases, you're steering it with your feet. You hook up like rudder lines.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
rudder. You know, the rudder
So
steering.
I was picturing like something like a, you know, like the way a trolling motor worked.
No, steer with your feet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, totally hands free.
I'd like to see one actually in action.
Pretty amazing. It's pretty
Yep.
amazing. Yeah, I got to see the Torqeedo today on a PA
Right.
PA 14, and
Yep.
I got to see it on an inflatable, and it was really mind blowing for me, because like I said, I feel like I've been a guy that's been around a lot of boats, been around a lot of electric boat propulsion boats over the years,
Right.
and I've never seen anything move as efficiently, as quietly, and as with that speed. I've just never seen it before.
Right.
It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
So there's different levels of. I mean, there's different horsepower, you know, motors available.
Yeah.
The ultralight for the kayak is a 1 horsepower. The motor we sell the most of by number, you know, is the travel motor, and that's a 3 horsepower equivalent. That's the one that's big in the sailing market, where they use them on dinghies and tenders, but even sailboats up to 1.5 tons. People use it to push it, you know, out of the slip, out of the marina, pull it up, and then they go sailing.
Right.
Then you jump up to the cruise motors, which is what you used on the Sea Eagle fish skiff today.
Yeah.
That is either a 5, 8, or 20 horsepower equivalent.
Yeah.
And those are 2,000 watt, 4,000 watt, or 10,000 watt.
Damn.
Beyond that, you can jump up to 40, 80, or 130 horsepower. So they have the deep blue system.
130 horsepower?
It's a 100 kilowatt motor that uses the same lithium batteries they put in the BMW i3.
You could power Ethiopia with that battery.
Oh my God.
So they're car batteries that we're using to power it.
Yeah.
And it's, you know,
Wow.
130 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's
So they
faster
use
than
them
everybody in
in
South Jersey's
commercial
bass boat.
applications. Like if you have a I think San Antonio has one. I don't know. There's a bunch of different like water taxi operations where they're taking the diesel engine out and putting in the electric because it's quiet. You know, it doesn't pollute, and after a certain number of years, because you're not buying, you know, so much diesel fuel, you eventually save money.
You pay for yourself.
First thing I thought of was like Cooper River, for example. We're restricted to electric only. Until those rowers came in there. You know, the high schools with their rowing teams. And then they're allowed gas motors for the jerk off with the bullhorn, but we're still stuck on electric motors.
Right.
You know
How do you really feel?
Right.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'd get arrested for running the outboard there, but they're fine. Bro.
I never did.
Anyhow, but I mean that would be a great place for a Torqeedo motor.
Yeah. No, I think what's interesting is the spectrum where you could use it. Right. It's not just for kayaks. It's John boat. Brian DeCarpenter's doing a build right now with a 14-foot, 16-foot John, 16-foot John boat.
That's right.
It's sailboats. It's you know, the water. I mean, there's a big range of use for that style of motor.
Yep.
Wow.
It's very cool.
It's crazy. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the technology.
Yeah, we were blown away last night. Jeff came over, and you know, we hooked the Torqeedo 2.0 Cruise 2.0 up on the 16-footer last night, and he just activated the battery. Battery goes in sleep mode, and you know had to wake it up. It was crazy. That thing sat dormant for 6 months or more.
Yeah.
Who knows how long? It had 97 or that was a 97% battery life still sitting in it.
Wow.
And I don't know who had the thing before. This is coming secondhand, and it was still, you know, loaded. So it's amazing, dude. It's got a built-in GPS in the motor.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, because that's interesting.
The GPS is there not just for, I mean, because you could have, you know, on your depth finder, you have your chart and you know how fast you're going. The reason why it needs a GPS module, and in the cruise motors, it's in the motor itself, and then in the ultralight or the travel motors, it's actually in the battery. But the motor and the battery and the throttle all communicate with each other, and the data it's looking at is what's the percentage of the battery that's remaining, what speed you're going thanks to the GPS, and what's your throttle setting in terms of how much are you asking for, how much power, what's the watt draw you're asking to come out of the battery. So regardless of whether you're fighting a tide or wind or whatever, your speed is your speed, and you know it knows how much, you know, power you're using, and it calculates your remaining range at that current throttle setting. Right. So unlike just using, in what I see a lot in the electric only reservoirs for folks that don't have the Torqeedos, you get a couple, you know, regular trolling motors on the back, and you know, early in the day you're scooting along, you're good to go, and then you get, you know, down reservoir and the wind picks up and you're trying to get back and you're stuck. Right, Brian?
Stuck.
How do you Are you insinuating that Brian's equipment always breaks down?
No, he just
I wonder how you know.
He just told me, you know, that he got stuck.
It was actually
my point is though,
I was with Darren Brooks and his father Neil Brooks's equipment, and yes,
right,
we got stuck.
Right,
and Darren rode a very long way back.
So you don't want to row back. You want to know if you got enough power to get back, and that's what it tells you. It's you know, with a regular trolling motor, you get a sort of sense that it doesn't quite have the power. It's running out. I better start getting back. No, with the Torqeedo on the throttle, it will tell you. Say you're going full speed and you have 38% of the battery left, and you're just hammering it.
Yeah.
Say on that boat that you use today.
Yeah.
Cruising along at 9.5 miles an hour, and you know that at 38%, it's telling you that you have 4.3 miles left of usable range at full speed, and you think, I know I have to go 5. So you back off a hair, and that number right on the display creeps up to 5.1. You know you're good to go.
Wow.
So
wow,
it's range
like
knowledge.
Super smart.
So I have a question, because we're talking about all this, but I'm sure like the average person's kind of like what does this thing look like, or like what's the setup? What's the easiest place for them to go? Like to your website to get information, or a YouTube channel?
Torqeedo.com. If you're in the kayak fishing market, the best place to go check out videos. I do a lot of rigging videos. I do, whatever is new that's coming out, or I get out with Team Torqeedo guys, although I haven't filmed with Ron Champion, but Ron is one of our Team Torqeedo guys. I'll get out and film with them. Is Torqeedo Kayak Fishing on Facebook. That's probably the best one.
Now, Brian, on the boat build, are you considering a Torqeedo on that?
We hooked it up last night.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, with that smart German brain inside that engine, is there any way you could hook up like one of them things you blow into on his motor? Maybe save him?
Like a breathalyzer?
Yeah, breathalyzer. Over, like,
is that where we're going with this, Dave?
No, imagine 25 Torqeedos on a Thursday night.
Just wonder. I'm just trying to keep him from getting tossed over the boat and having that thing, still going.
there is a kill switch.
It does have a kill switch.
There you go. Look at that.
Magnet. It does have a kill switch.
There's a little magnet that sits right on the top of the head there.
Yeah, it's
Can you install a voice on Brian's? It's like, charge me, because like he'll forget that he's going to charge it. And then like, he'll destroy that lithium battery.
Dave, you forgot to go fishing for 10 years. What are you even talking about right now?
That doesn't mean I can't make fun of you, dude. I'm not saying you suck at fishing. Then I would be out of line and out of my lane.
I kind of like the voice command to charge me.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But that thing will...
I would love that.
How about bring me? You know what I mean? Like he's always going to drive away with that.
Talk to it like Kit?
Yeah, like Brian.
Bring me.
I'm still in the garage underneath all the 2x4s. Like,
kill me, Dave. But that boat will run.
But if the Torqeedo does ever be able to talk, can it have the German accent?
It should.
It should.
Can it say?
You can call Dave
Jacob
if you need help.
Jacob?
Yeah.
Jacob?
Or like a British woman's accent,
It's called big teeth. It's my teeth are big.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, sorry. Let me remind everybody watching right now, if you've got questions for Jeff, if you've got questions about the Torqeedo product, let us know. Hit us up on the
We
IM.
don't have questions, and we didn't let anyone ask questions.
Yeah.
We had too many questions ourselves.
Maybe someone will have a question for Brian's Torqeedo.
I got a question. I got a question from the board for you, Dave. And it's for Dave about the Torqeedo. Can you shorten the shaft length on a Torqeedo? That would be Wawa Hoagie Lady.
You win, Wawa Hoagie Lady.
Wow, you win.
Oh gosh.
Hold on. Have we told that story? We have.
Oh yeah.
2 minutes.
But just to bring him up to speed,
Never
long
too
story
many.
short, we had these crawdads. I was cutting edge in my idea of shortening my shaft. I shortened it way too much, and if I like hit so much as a ripple, it'd be like.
Dude, he had to sit on the front deck, Indian style.
I couldn't be in the back because it would just be in the air, like a fan, dude. Like they know those cheap dashboard fans.
Mike. Mike, do you remember we had a top rod tournament on Wilson? Back in the day.
And you guys were in the creek and you could hear him at the dam?
And I was sitting there, I was fishing some lily pads or something, and Dave is sitting Indian style on the front deck of his boat. And he's up there, he's Indian style. And I think he had the back motor turned on, and he was sitting on the front, and he was holding his foot pedal button down. And and he got top heavy, and he just rolled off the side of the boat and fell the fuck in. And the back motor was locked on, just doing donuts around him.
Like you said, I had to go to the front, and I had to reach to grab something. I think I was like trying to grab an iced tea or something, and I like pulled on the foot thing, so my motor shot like like if you pull on the it jacked, but I was like Indian style and off balance. You know what I mean? Yeah, I went in, dude.
Oh my God.
From where I looked, though, you look like you just got top heavy and rolled sideways.
I was trying to reach back for my cooler, but not slowing down because I was trying to make time.
Like your head caught wind or something.
Yeah.
Caught a crosswind.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Dave, if you only had the Torqeedo back then, you would have been
You'd have been all right, man.
If you only had Eric creeping around with a camera.
Oh, I have it in my head.
Oh man, that's
It's
funny. I don't
never gonna
remember
leave.
that.
Oh, I remember it.
I don't
was
remember
right
that
there. I watched it. I just happened to look over and see him. I'm like, look at that idiot sitting on the front deck with his legs crossed. he just rolled sideways like, you know, I was looking at.
But the worst part about it was, so I come back from the machine shop after I get it cut, and I put the motor down, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't think this is going to be that good.
The machine shop.
I did, dude. Remember, like right in front of me, like right at the end of where I lived on Pine, there was that machine shop right at the woods, you know, right there. The guy did it for me.
Dude, the funniest thing is when you fell in at Wilson's, he was in the deepest part of the lake. And he fell in and he stood up and the water was up to his knees. That was the deepest part of the lake.
Pretty much.
He's like, hey.
Oh, we digress.
Yeah, so bad, Lena. We're talking about Torqeedo.
I do want to talk a little bit about, Jeff, we were talking off air. We had a commercial break. We were talking, you fished at Upper Susquehanna a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking about big fish. And
right.
You mentioned you caught a giant. What was it,
6'10".
6'10".
Smallmouth.
In the Upper Susquehanna.
I heard
in the
that.
Harrisburg area. Dude,
God.
that's incredible. First of all, how old is that fish, dude? Is that fish like 100 years old?
Yeah.
Seriously. Because there aren't, I can't remember a lot of six plus pounders in the Upper Susquehanna like that. That's amazing.
How old do you think he is?
Gotta be old, like 10
I remember
plus years.
talking with some of the biologists down in Virginia. I was president of the Potomac River Smallmouth Club, and I would get speakers, and I'd love getting the biologists there. But I remember him saying that your average 20-inch Virginia River smallmouth is 14 years.
14
now,
years.
It's
Wow. Holy cow.
it
crazy.
changes from one river to the next.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And, you know, the river like the New River has a very fast growth rate, and then you come up, you know, to the northern part of the state where the Rappahannock or Potomac or Shenandoah, and it's a little bit slower. A lot of that's forage based, but I don't know. We definitely had a really strong year class. If you went back where we just had a lot of 20+ inch river smallmouth in the Susquehanna there for a few years. So it's still great. I mean, it still has a lot of them. But
Yeah.
that particular day, I was actually doing a river bassin tournament where it's catch, photo, and release. It was my top 3 by length and my partner's top 3, and he actually fished a different area, my buddy Jed. And I think our total was 123.75 inches. So
Wow.
we're, yeah.
All big ones.
Yeah.
Dang,
So we're it actually set the river bassin tournament series record for a team total.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that 6'10" was part of it. I had another one that was over 5. A lot of them, I mean, I was catching fish, you know, big fish so fast that I would get like a 19.5 up to the boat. I'd be like, nope, you get off. And I was shaking them off because I could tell, no, you're not.
Can't help.
I don't. Yeah, you're not helping me.
Wow. Now that was in October.
It was in October. Here's what's unique about that particular 6'10", in the 5. I forget what the 5. It was over 5, but I weighed, you know, maybe 3 fish in that tournament where I'm just put on the boat. I'm like, I gotta know, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think those fish were anywhere near as heavy as they were 2 days prior than when I caught them, because when I caught them, they were totally engorged, stuffed, minnows and crayfish in their mouth, like they just, you know, and they kept going. And what happened that was unique then is that we had, you know, the remnants of one of the tropical storms come inland and really brought the Susquehanna up. I remember pre-fishing the day before, hitting an area similar to that, and I left that area. I knew I was going to fish that area. I'm like, what is the most similar to that area? And I went to a different area, and basically I'm chucking spinner baits and crankbaits into whitewater.
Fast water.
Whitewater.
Yeah.
I mean, like you get it stuck, guess what? You're breaking it off because you're not going in after that because you're going to flip your kayak.
Right.
Dang.
So whenever there's a rise, and I've experienced this, over on many different rivers, they just eat. They just go on the feed, and the longer the period of time where it was low and clear before that rise, it seems like it's that much more powerful when they do eat. That and that's what had happened. I mean, it was a low, clear September without much rain, and then that one tropical storm came in, and it was on, and they just ate. And a lot of guys in that tournament were struggling to catch fish because it was high and muddy, and it was difficult to hold position. It's
interesting. It's interesting hearing about this because my thought is always, when a river's on the rise, those fish get to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But you were catching them
in white water.
In white water,
mm-hmm.
in the middle of the river, not necessarily on the bank.
It was a big ledge system,
right?
And it was. I was positioned. No, it wasn't really on the bank,
right?
But there was enough of a pocket of honestly, it was a pocket that wasn't any bigger than the size of this room here,
right?
And I just kept putting spinner baits and crankbaits through there, and they just kept coming.
Wow.
So when you're down there diving, like how are the fish positioning themselves in this white water? Like, what are they doing? Are they down low? Is it not roaring down there?
So I've watched them. I've actually, not when it's high and muddy like that, but I've gotten up on the bank and looked down and said, I can see these fish. What do they do? And they do goofy things with that ledge current dynamic, where they will just come up into it and nose up to it and look at that water just whizzing past, just waiting for minnows or crayfish. The crayfish do the same thing, is they'll crawl, like, say the current's rolling this way, and here's the calm side of the rock, and they'll crawl right up to the edge, and they just wait for something to go flying by. And when it does, they tail flip, grab whatever it is, and they go.
Wow.
I had one. I had a big tank, and I had a crawfish in there. When I would put the goldfish in to feed the bass, like in the middle of the night, you'd click the light on, and he'd be standing on top of everything, like they'd leave their claws open, just waiting for something stupid enough to come by, and then boom, they grab it. He would just sit up there at nighttime waiting for somebody to swim by his ass, dude. Yeah. I'm telling you, his pinchers were open, dude, ready to blast
pinches of power.
Yeah.
I want to be a crawfish.
Can someone make a meme?
I want to be a crawfish for Halloween.
Dave.
Yeah.
Pinches of power.
Yeah.
Pinches of power.
What movie was that from?
It's Goonies, but I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
Yeah,
Long Duck Dong. Kid.
No.
Long Duck Dong.
Wrong movie.
Sorry.
Oh.
So, but you said you dive for him. You see him in the grass, and I'm curious.
So
about that.
Summertime, and I do it with my kids. It started as a thing where you take my boys fishing, and if fishing's not good, you need alternative things to do with the kids. I mean, you pack a lot of good food, and you skip rocks with them. But it was just one other, hey, what else can we get into? And I brought it, and honestly, I'd go up with my younger son Cooper, and sometimes we fish for an hour or two, and then we start in with the masks and the snorkel, and that's the rest of the day, because it's just fascinating down there. It really is. But you absorb so much knowledge about the right places to put the bait. You find out that even if you move 15 feet back from the rapid, that there are fewer hellgrammites. You're flipping rocks and not seeing the mad toms and the crayfish that you are up in there. Then you go to the grass beds, and it's just like life everywhere, just like shooting past you and running into you, and it's just and then you go through certain areas where you kind of paw along in shallow water, and you're like, there's nothing here. Why is there nothing here? But you move 15 feet in that direction, and it's there. And I don't know whether it's the oxygenation of the water on the rapids, or places to hide in the grass. I don't know. But certain areas, and even if you have shallows where, I mean, the crayfish base in that river is just so amazing, where you can just look at the bottom of the river and just
Looks
stand still. The whole thing's moving, and you just like, they're everywhere, and it's
phenomenal. That's a commonality with all phenomenal smallmouth fisheries I've ever been to. Have that.
Right.
Like when I look at Champlain and Thousand Islands and Upper Susquehanna, they all have that phenomenon where if you look at it, it is so many crawfish, it looks like the bottom's moving. I've seen it so many times.
It makes you dizzy.
It's crazy.
He taught me something else.
It's creepy.
He taught me something. He said when he brings his kids fishing, he brings like good snacks and skipping stones. I think I'm going to replace my threats and punishment with skipping stones and snacks. I never think to bring that. I usually just have to yell at him the whole time.
Gotta leave that paddle at home. Leave the paddle for rocks.
Give some snacks over threats.
I told you corporal punishment's out of style, Dave.
I don't do corporal punishment. You know? I don't know. Maybe verbal? Verbal lashings?
Seek. Riz, we got any questions coming through about Torqeedo? What do we got? Brian Carpenter.
Remember I had a raft, an inflatable?
Yeah.
Remember my first boat?
I do.
With an electric motor on it?
Yeah. I do remember.
Do you remember that boat, Dave?
Yeah, your mom dropped us off in Sweetsboro Lake that time. I remember, dude.
Sweetsboro
I was
Lake?
one time, I think, with you.
I had like it wasn't big.
Dude, we used to rope it down on the top of your mom's Datsun. And there was no way.
It was a Dodge Omni. It was even worse.
There was no way to tie down the front, so we would be driving, and the raft would be like
fold it in half,
fold it up, like, you know what I mean, like a broken convertible, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Dude, I remember though it was a boat, like it was a holy grail because even though it was
to have something, to get
I
out
mean, it
off
was
the
worst inflatable, the cheapest thing ever.
No, but it had.
It was a
have
boat,
wood bench
dude.
seats. Didn't have two wooden bench.
I made a wood floorboard.
Wood floorboard.
I remember some
wood
wood
floorboard.
Yeah.
The carpentry started early.
Yeah,
It did. It started early, but
and
the one
it had an anus in it. And the motor that came with it, it had a straight shafted motor.
It went through the anus.
Through the anus.
Straight shaft.
Yeah.
Through the anus.
But I never used that because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, but the one I remember, I was telling Brian about this earlier, is we were at Compton's.
Yeah.
We were at Compton's, and we launched same thing. I think Dot took us.
Yeah.
And we were at Compton's.
Folded boat in half.
Yeah, we launched, and we were so excited because we were going to be able to fish Compton's
off the bank,
right? We're going to be able to fish it in a new way. And we got out there, and the fish wasn't very good, so I think we started playing a little bit.
Probably.
And there was that old swim platform that used to be out there. Well, we get out there, and we get on the platform. Before we know it, the boat got away from us.
The boat left.
The boat left. So me and Brian are on the platform, and the boat's gone.
Yeah.
And so I remember us being panicked because I feel like it was cold enough to where it wasn't swimming weather, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it was summer. It was like cool still. And we're panicked. How are we going to get this back? And I start looking in my box, and it was a hard box, you know, and you open it up, and the 3 tiers open up.
Yep.
And I have these
melted worms
on the bottom, not in the drawers, but on the bottom, I have a card of Stanley jigs.
Yeah.
That I had got at like Kmart or Best. And it was a card of jigs. And I didn't use jigs. I don't know why I had this card of jigs. But they were heavy. They were like 1/2 ounce, 5/16, 9/16, whatever. Stanley was always off sizes.
Yeah, they couldn't give you the...
No. And so I've got a spinning rod with light line or whatever, the shit we used to use.
Yeah.
And I tie, and the boat's going, and it's further and further away by the second.
Tying on.
And I'm like, shit. And I'm tying on this big heavy jig, and I go to make this bomb cast to get it, and the jig goes snap and snaps off, and I'm like, shit, and I spread the line back through the guides, and I went through the entire card of jigs and never got the boat back.
What'd you guys do, swim for it?
I think Brian swam for it.
I think I probably did.
You did. You did. I didn't have to, but you did. I think you got down in your skivvies.
And then he probably came and got you. He had hypothermia, and you probably made him
Oh,
fish
yeah.
for another 5 hours afterwards.
I think I did.
Yeah.
But the funniest part is I think he went down to his underwear and got out in that cold-ass, dirty water to go get his boat. And there's people at Compton's eating, watching.
Restaurant.
This is like amazing, beautiful, fine dining restaurant. And they're looking out at this skinny ass.
Wait, so how old were you guys?
We weren't driving.
We had to be in 7th, 8th grade.
14,
Oh,
13.
gosh.
Yeah, and the restaurant, you know, the people in the restaurant are like, oh my God, you know, they're looking out there. You know, like, what the hell?
Sometimes, like, I'll drive by with the family. We'll be doing something, and I'll be far away at one of the places we were dropped off at.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think,
the drop-off locales.
I'm like, I would never, like, David's going to be in 6th grade soon. I would
crazy.
never drop him in
such a different world.
derpy-ass friends off at a lake. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
we used to get dumped off all
and
day.
no cell phones, no
water.
anything.
You get dropped off a half hour
No
away.
water.
No, half hour, 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
Dude, on lakes that were not public lakes.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
private ass.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Get arrested lakes that we would convince our moms to drop
Hey,
us
how about
off.
that? Like, our moms would never be like, why are all these no trespassing signs? You know what I mean, dude?
Dude, I'll never forget.
We sold them anything.
Oh, we sold them anything. And they were gullible. I hope my mom's not watching this right now, but I'll never forget the time she took us to Stella's.
It was me and you.
She took us to Stella's. She was the driver too and picked up.
Yeah.
It was a double that time. Normally we
found a cooler.
split them. And we're walking through. They drop us off on that main road, and we'd walk that sand dune and get down to that first right-hand corner. And we were walking that sand dune, and son of a bitch, we came upon a cooler.
Yeah.
And we were like half going around with a styrofoam cooler, like, ha, 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 and kind of kicked the cooler, and the thing's loaded with beer. And, dude, it was like, at the time, you know, you're 14, 15. Dude, it's the holy grail, you know? Like, you can't get beer at this age yet. And, dude, we just, our eyes went open, and we're like, and there was no doubt that we were getting that shit back. And we did. Somehow we got a 12-pack back
Of hot.
of hot beer.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember. It was something light.
Something shitty, yeah.
Probably like Bud Light or whatever.
How
I
did
feel
you
like it
get
was
this
Bush.
back?
We got
without-
it back without Roberta knowing. Somehow we got it
we were
back.
motivated.
Because everyone had trunks, and it was, you didn't see in the trunks. You know what I mean? Like, they were trunks back then, and we put
The
everything in
Honda.
trunks.
She had a Honda Accord. We stuck it in
have
the
a Honda
trunk,
Accord.
and that was
Yeah, there
it.
were no SUVs that you could, like, you know, like, it was
Is that the trunk that snapped Dave's rod? Is that the one?
Was it Dave's rod or was it Rick King's rod? No.
No, my mom chopped one of Tom's rods in half.
Okay,
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, like in her
Berkeley Phaser or
Chrysler,
something.
yeah, or Chrysler, whatever, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Anyhow.
Sorry.
Thanks for-
They go down memory
Sorry.
lane.
Yeah.
No, it's cool.
I do. Now that you said that, though, I want to retell the Tom's mom story. I have to do this because I don't think I've ever done
Do
it
it
on
up.
the show.
Okay, hold on.
This is the best story ever. So,
I'm sorry, Tom,
I have
and
to
your
do this.
mom.
He don't watch.
so our good friend Tom,
This is true.
his mom Donna, worked at a VFW. VFW in Runnymede.
And it was hot.
And for some reason, this is years later. We end up, our first bass club used to meet at this VFW, but
It's
years
true.
later, I ended up there somehow, and I would think I was going to meet Tom and you guys up there, but Tom's mom started working at this VFW as a bartender, and so she knew we were coming up there, and she asked if I could bring one of my books. This was several years after I wrote my wrote Fishing on the Edge. I'm like, yeah, I'll bring you a book up, absolutely. You know, it's Tom's mom, man. Of course I'm gonna give her a book. This is ridiculous, you know. So I bring her a book, nice hardback copy that I have, and I bring it to her, and I pull up, and she comes running out. Did you bring the book? I said, yeah. And I give it to her, and I'm like, thanks. And I want to go in. She's like, no. Will you sign it for me? She like really kind of like put me on the spot. Like, will you sign it for me? Sign it. She even had the Sharpie. Here. I brought you a Sharpie. And she flips the front cover open and puts me on the spot, you know. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I've got these normal ideas of what I normally write to fans, like good luck, good fishing, you know. Never give up. But here's Tom's mom. Here's my friend's mom that I knew since I was 8 years old, and it's really weird. What? And I just sort of blacked out, and the first thing that came to my mind, and I just started writing it without thinking about it. And I go. To Donna, thanks for being my friend's mom.
That's
And then
perfect.
signed my name and gave it to him, and ran into the VFW. What the hell?
You immediately reverted to like an 8th grade thank you letter that your mom pitched you in the right to somebody.
Thanks for being my friend's mom.
Oh my
Like he had a choice.
Maybe that was like a deep subconscious thing how you felt about Tom.
I don't. Was it?
Like,
Maybe it was.
Thanks for not leaving him on a step somewhere. You know? So I could be his friend. I don't know.
Oh my God!
Pictures of power. I gotta get that over something.
Awesome.
Oh God!
Awesome. I think this is a good transition point.
Somebody just sent us some. Oh, cool. Get a picture of that.
Happy Mother's Day, Donna.
Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day is coming up. Yeah.
Guns in the air says pincers of power with an Ike Live logo. Just came on the IM board.
Wow. We need to get that over somehow.
That's good.
Brian Carpenter, I'm going to
go.
go ahead and this is a great little segue point.
Okay.
And I want to let you know Ike Live is the only official live podcast that does a mystery tackle box unboxing. And Becky, we're going to go ahead and do our unboxing. We've got, of course, Jeff on the couch is going to help us with this tonight. And I'm assuming this is the box right here.
I'm assuming you're correct.
Looks about right.
Okay. And, you guys know Mystery Tackle Box, like Christmas to your doorstep once a month. This is the best part of the box. You don't know what you're getting. You got to break the seal. We're going to break it. Listen to that noise. Listen to that seal pop. It's the best part. You ready? Listen, it's like Brandon Cobb's hook set. Just like that. I'm going to break the seal on that amazing box. Oh, wait, it's still stuck
I'm
a
curious
little bit on
about
that one side.
the Brandon Cobb interview. I'm sorry, he's putting kids to bed. Pete writes notes, I guess things to remind himself, like questions to ask. But right here it says,
Pete's notes.
save
Pete's notes says,
save a vegetable. I'm not kidding. I can't make this up. What were y'all talking about?
I don't know. What else does Pete's notes say?
Like, what are you most proud of?
Nap at 2, nap at 4, nap at 4:30,
Snack between nap.
snap at.
It seriously says save a vegetable.
Snack between nap.
Oh,
There's proof that when Pete shows up with a coffee cup, it's definitely not coffee
yeah.
in the cup. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the unboxing. I'm going to start. I'm going to hand it to Becky. Becky, you hand it over to Jeff, and Jeff's going to hand it to Dave. We're going to go through. This is the neat thing about this MTB Pro Box. It's got a lot of variation, and I've always preached this. It's a great way to get stuff you would never normally buy on your own, and I want to state that again. I grabbed the first thing. Here's something really neat, Brian the Carpenter.
No.
Not just baits in a mystery tackle box, MTB box, but amazing buff that came in right here, and this is great because this is something that
Buffalopogus.
A hunter could wear that.
this is a product that I use
Let's go Flyers.
almost every time I fish. This is by a company called Neko. I don't know if it's like the Neko rig, but this is a Neko buff. And look at this. I'm going to show you this one. I'll actually try it on for you. We got a little, look at that. Dave? Look at that. It's got the mouth.
It's got
See
teeth.
the mouth, the teeth.
Good job.
Got the nose.
Ah,
Really
Look
cool
like you're ready
product.
to rob
Neko
something.
buff and the mystery tackle box.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Stick
the-
them up.
like the drummer from Slipknot.
Could be, yeah, like Slipknot.
Speaking of buffs, Bass University just got all of their new buffs in for new subscribers. They will
Really?
be getting buffs. Yep, neck gaiters.
Wonder if I'll get one.
Very exciting.
All right, Becky, what do you got?
All right, so listen, I feel like I've done a handful of these, and I know no one really cares for my assessment of baits. So I want to point out
Hear, hear.
that this is the very first time I've ever seen them put line in a box.
Braid. Nice
Wow.
braid.
Never seen
MTB
line.
box,
So
15
there's
pound.
actually there's braid in the box.
Be great for a spinning rod. Little braid to floor leader. We're gonna go over to Jeff. Jeff, pick something out in there that intrigues you. Something that maybe you wouldn't normally throw on a normal situation.
Brian, did you say you didn't like my assessment of baits?
I
in the
know. I
box?
did not. I said here. I was stricken. I was agreeing with you, Becky.
That's my point.
Yeah, you're only supposed to laugh at self-depravity. You're not supposed to be like, yeah,
Yes, you do suck.
faux show.
Agreed.
I concur. All right, what do you got there?
All right, Jeff, what'd you pick out? Looks like a bait by
Crazy
Weston.
bluegill.
Oh,
it's
something
a
interesting.
Swim, floating. I'm going to pull it out.
Okay.
Check it out.
Excuse me.
Maybe
while I
part
whip this out.
swim bait.
Let's be honest. Weston's
Yeah.
known for making some crazy stuff. Then we have the duck and the
Oh yeah,
frog
yeah.
and the
Weston.
yeah.
Weston's
I think they
on
might be jumping
the
at you.
Weston's duck, right?
Yeah,
Somebody.
What's it?
that is a Weston duck.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Almost.
I'm wondering how it
Yeah.
orients.
So it's
like
a
that,
soft body
Yeah.
frog style, almost super
But-
natto
but a-
like. Yeah.
but a bluegill.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
sharp.
Until you throw.
Pretty neat.
You know what it needs?
Fishing line.
fish on the end
Little liquid mayhem right about there.
Yeah.
What's up?
Little
Yeah,
mayhem.
by the way, I saw Jeff had the liquid mayhem in his yak.
Oh yeah.
He's a believer.
Yeah.
Believer.
And everything's pink.
Believer.
Hey, and didn't Liquid Mayhem just come out with a new website?
They do. They did
did,
a redesign.
Yeah,
yes.
they did they were .ca because it's a Canadian company, so they're now .com.
Yeah.
So it makes it liquidmayhem.com.
Nice.
A little easier to get to.
Nice. Okay. Dave, what do we got?
So what has intrigued me is this swim jig that has no weed guard that you would Texas rig your trailer into.
Ooh. Interesting.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's heavy, so I got to wonder when it rolls because of the weight, how many times you just,
Yeah. I do like the concept though.
Great hook though. On
Yeah, I like the concept. Just basic Texas rig,
Yeah.
your trailer, and it becomes weedless.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Interesting. All right,
you got, Rizward?
go on to the back. Riz, what do we got? MTB box. What do we got?
Couple
I
of
got Mustad 3/0 offset EWG hooks.
Okay.
I love to flip. It's my favorite way to catch fish, and
I'm rich. I love to flip.
yeah. And I actually use a 3/0 EWG. Normally I use a VMC Ike approved heavy duty hook, but these 3/0 VMC Mustads will probably get it done too. So.
Nice.
I like their grip pins.
Yeah, it's a good hook. Yeah, grip pin's a good hook.
Yeah, we got some soft plastics. Looks like it's a salad spoon type of soft plastic.
Ah, the old salad spoon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Little topwater buzzer.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
There you have it.
There you have it, folks. Mystery Tackle Box once again. Great example of the variation of baits in each box to your doorstep every month with new baits. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Before we go, Brian and Carpenter, before we take this break and get on to the next segment, Jeff, I do want to put you on the spot real quick. Two things. Let everybody know, I know Becky asked you this question, but people watching tonight, they're intrigued by Torqeedo, whether they have a kayak, a John boat, something in between. They're saying, man, I want to check this out as a motor for my boat. Where can they go to find information? What's the best way to?
Torqeedo.com.
Torqeedo.com.
TORQ. There is no U. EEDO.
EEDO.com. And then finally, I know you mentioned underwater stuff. Intrigues me a lot, and I want to see some more of that stuff myself. But people are watching; they want to see some of it. What's the YouTube handle they can follow you at?
The little stuff.
The little stuff.
That's it.
Okay.
Because it's the little stuff that makes a big difference whether you're catching or not.
Awesome. Okay, there you have it. The little stuff on YouTube. Check it out. Jeff Little, everybody on the casting couch tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Very awesome.
Hello, Jeff.
And we ain't done.
We're not done. Brian and Carpenter, here's the good news. We got one more segment left.
Yeah.
For those of you watching, hang in there with us because we got two big things that are going to happen. We've got some prizes, Becky. We're giving away a few of these Ike Live bags that you see over here.
How many are we giving away?
A couple.
Two.
I think two. Right.
Two.
A couple is two.
Yes.
A couple's two.
I'm just
Giving away-
double checking because Miss Janet.
We're giving away
She'll
two. A
get you.
couple's two. Chill out. And then also
Johan.
Ryan Lambert,
Oh, yeah.
Becky, is joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about the kayak scene, good and bad. Maybe a little bit of controversy we're gonna stir up. We don't know. Who knows?
We could try.
But hang in there with us. When we come back, more Ike Live.
Like, you good, man? You know we're doing a video right now, right? I'm about to go down there and tackle that dude. Hey! Hey there, official world. What's shaking, fat cat dude, and coming at you? Listen, let's talk about something very important. And I'm not talking about Jack and Jaws Ripping Lips 2455 and Big Belly Kelly out of a brush pile. I found Primal Urge Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, what Primal Urge Foods is, it is a monthly meat stick box. Every month you get a box of meat sticks to your door. Retail is probably, I don't know, $30, $40, $14.95 a month. Now, you can pick many different varieties. You can pick a surprise box. You get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that. You get some 24.55 divided by 4. No, we don't like antibiotics. No antibiotics! And these right here, completely eagle-free. Now, the gas stations B6 you buy probably have eagle in them. They have rhinoceros in them. But we are Americans. America! We're not eating bald eagles in our meat sticks. Guaranteed none of these meat sticks have bald eagle in them. That's the #1 reason to buy these meat sticks. You want to get granddaddy a gift? Hey, you're dating a girl. Ooh, she's fine as muscadine wine. And you want to warm up her hair. You want to... I'm getting excited talking about women. I forget what it's. Primal Urge, $14.95 a month. Monthly meat box subscription. It could be called a Bombs box of meat sticks. You just do like I do, and every month the box shows up, and I don't know what's going to be in it, but they're all delicious. The meat right there. I tell you what, that's something good right there. It's girthy. It's Fat Cat Newton, Primal Urge Foods. Please, Ike Live is the code, guys. Ike Live. Ike Live is the code. Okay? Primal Urge Foods, Ike Live is the code. It gets you $5 off a box. Okay?
Got a surprise for you. You gotta come out.
I'm respooling my reels, baby.
Oh, hush. Watch your step. Whoa, watch your step there. Come on. Get them close.
I got them close.
No peeking.
Hold my arm so tight.
Oh, all right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Surprise!
Oh, yes.
Yes! Woo!
Is everything everywhere? Oh, yes, yes.
Yes!
Yes.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
No, baby, go back.
Look, 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 look. Oh, oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, but baby, look. I got you a boat.
Mystery Tackle Box is the perfect gift for the fishing fanatic in your life. It's a monthly box filled with some of the most innovative fishing gear on the market, hand-selected by industry professionals. Check out all the different options available at mysterytacklebox.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. I love fishing this time of the year. It's cold, it's winter, it's snowing, but if you want to prevent the buildup of ice, use Real Snot. Every time I'm fishing this time of the year, I put a couple squirts on all my guides, especially the tip, before I start casting. Try that tip when you're fishing under these cold conditions, and you're going to catch more fish. See you later.
There's a special place in our hearts for the tools of the trade. They're what we prep for a good day on the water. They're what we clean after a good day in the field. Flambeau's patented Z-Rust technology protects the gear of today from rust and corrosion. Z-Rust for the performance of tomorrow. Preserve, perform, repeat.
You work hard to catch your fish. TH Marine has 2 products to ensure your fish survive. The Oxygenator injects 100% pure oxygen into your live well. That increases fish survival by 35%. For the perfect combo, add G-Juice Live Well treatment. It calms fish, stops bleeding, removes ammonia, and replaces slime coat. Get an Oxygenator and G-Juice and keep your fish alive.